Hello and good morning friends, welcome to the CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, in this session today we would be talking on concepts of personality and its determinants, and for this discussion we have once again with us in our studios Dr. Parveen Sharma. Dr. Parveen Sharma is Associate Professor in Hindu College of Education. Dr. Sharma has immense experience. She has been teaching since 30 years. She has authored numerous books and a number of her articles have been published in reputed journals both at national and international level. Number of students are pursuing their PhD under her able guidance, as well as she keeps on counseling the students who always need her guidance. So let's welcome our guest, Dr. Parveen Sharma, and let's try to understand what are the concepts of personality and what are its determinants. Hello ma'am, welcome to today's lecture.
Thank you Geetika ji. Good morning viewers and listeners. Today in this session we will be talking about the concept of personality and what are its determinants. Personality is such a wider topic, such a wider term that we can keep talking for hours, for days, for months. So it's a very wider topic. In day-to-day life, when we come across people and from them when we feel impressed, very abruptly we are forced to say, wow, what a personality. So let us see and try to understand what the word personality is and how it can be developed, because the ultimate aim or the topmost aim of our education is to develop the personality of the students, that is the holistic development of the personality of the students. But how can we develop the personality of the students? Because we understand, we realize that there are the individual differences among the learners. So we will have to understand what is the type of the personality, what are the traits of the learners, because if we just make a strategy, we cannot counsel all the learners with the same strategy, with the same methods, with the same approach, because there are the individual differences among learners. So before we set out, we make a framework of the strategies how to develop the personality of the students. We will have to find out its meaning and its type and traits. We'll see further how the psychologists have tried to classify on the basis of two approach, type approach and trait approach. We will be talking about in detail about these approach and theories and assessment later on. But in the beginning, let us try to understand what do we actually mean by personality. See, what is personality? The modern aim of education is the wholesome, balanced or harmonious development of personality. Educationists and psychologists are busy in building wholesome personality of an individual. Thus, personality is the apex and crux of psychology and education. All knowledge of psychology and education is ultimately related to understanding and development of personality. In every aspect, in every area of education and especially in the area of psychology, we try to understand what is the personality, what are its determinants, how the personality is shaped and how the other factors, maybe at home, maybe in the community, maybe in the school, maybe in the peer group, how these determinants determine the personality and how far the individual himself or herself is responsible to frame his or her personality, because whatever we choose out of the different choices, we make our personality, because these are our judgments, these are our selections which make or which determine or which set our personality. So this depends on our choices also. See, what we are and what we hope to become and what we aspire to become, what are our ideas and what are our desires, they all are related to our personality, because it influences our behavior. We have set our goals, we have set our ideas, these goals, these desires, they influence our behavior, because these are our ideas and these are our aspirations which set a framework for our direction, because we choose the path according to these ideas. It is the total integration of physical, emotional, social and other aspects, because when all these aspects of personality, they work as a unit, they work in integrity, only then the harmonious development of a child is possible, which is expressed in term of behavior. Our physical aspect, our emotional aspect, our social aspect, all these aspects, all these domains are reflected in our behavior. We can say in other words that our personality, our choices, our likings, our dislikings, our values, our beliefs, our goals, our desires, everything is reflected in our behavior. What we think, what we feel, it is expressed in our behavior, in our manner, in our attitudes, in our beliefs, in our sentiments and temperaments. When we talk about temperaments, what we feel, what we think, we express in our behavior. If I talk about the word personality, I'll be choosing each and every alphabet of the word personality C. The first alphabet is P. P means perception capacity. It stands for the capacity, how do we perceive the things, because the things are open and we are to perceive. It depends on our liking, on our attitude and belief, whatever we perceive, how we perceive the things. The second alphabet is E, emotional maturity, because if a person is thinking in a mature and balanced way, his or her emotions will be very well balanced. So the second alphabet E stands for emotional maturity. R is the responsiveness to the situations, because we come across to the different situations in day-to-day life. So how do we respond to the situation? That is our personality, and that reaction, that response to those situations is reflected in our behavior. And the next alphabet is the self-expression, because we perceive the things and then we try to express after our attitudinal behavior, we try to express. Then O, organized, how much organized we are in every area, physical aspects, emotional aspects, social aspects, how much disciplined we are. Then N, this alphabet in the word personality is not stable, meaning by not fixed, because the life is on move, we keeps on learning something, so nothing is permanent, we keeps on changing. Appearance, how do we look, because it is at the first impression, it is our appearance, it is our outlook, our dress, our mannerism. So A stands for appearance. Then the leadership, L stands for how much a person can take initiative to start good thing, because if there is a task we have to perform, suppose we have to take part in Swachh Bharat mission, so we are not looking that who is coming first, we have to take initiative, so that is the leadership initiative. Then I stands for integrated, because all the aspects have to work in integration. Then T, tendencies, what are our tendencies? And Y stands for young, that is one has to feel energetic and never say that I can't do this. So all these alphabets in the word of personality are taken like this. Now see in this pic, personality matters, because your personality can transform your future. This is your personality, this is your attitude, this is your behavior which decides your future. But this word personality has been defined by various psychologists in their own manner. So later on we will discuss what is the best, what is the last comprehensive definition, how we can conclude what do we actually mean by definition of personality. First of all, etymologically, basically this word personality has come out from a Latin word persona, which means a mask which the Greek players used to wear in the drama. So the word personality is taken from that meaning by outer appearance. Then the layman's view is our appearance, our mannerisms, our physical outlook. Then the philosophical outlook of the word personality is the best ideal self, and biophysical self, it is the outer as well as inner. Then the sociological aspect. The sociological aspect of personality is our social tendencies, our social attitudes, how much adjustment we can make in the society, because we are not living for ourselves only. Most of the time we perform the task because society demands it from us, because we are not to see that what the society or the community has given to us, rather we have to focus what we are giving to the society. Then psychoanalytical aspect, that is the id, ego and superego. Later on I will explain these in more detail. These are the three terms. On the basis of these terms, psychologist has tried to explain our whole personality, and for the time being I will say id is the immoral aspects and the superego is the idealistic form, and the ego, this is not we mean by this ego which we take in the day-to-day life, that he is a person with ego. This is not that ego. This ego is the balance between the immoral and moral aspect of the personality. And psychological view is the personality is a total one to integrated outer as well as inner qualities of a person. We will be talking in detail further. Now see how the other psychologists have defined the word personality. Woodworth says personality is the quality of individual's total behavior, meaning by inner qualities and outer appearance. And R.B. Kettle says personality is that which permits a prediction of what a person will do in a given situation. R.B. Kettle, a famous psychologist, has tried to explain that personality can be seen by the actions of an individual. On the basis of actions, we can try to predict how this person will be behaving in the coming situations. And Guilford, the famous psychologist, has tried to explain personality. An individual's personality is his unique pattern of traits, on the basis of qualities. And lastly, I would try to explain the definition of famous psychologist Allport. Personality is the dynamic organization within the individual of those psychophysical systems that determine his unique adjustment to the environment. Look, whenever we talk about the various aspects of the personality, Allport, the famous and the great psychologist, has tried to put all the aspects in a very comprehensive manner, meaning by that it is a psychophysical system of an individual which tries to explain that every individual is a unique personality on this earth, and this is the personality when individual tries to make adjustment with the situation, with the environment. So Allport has tried to make the definition, bring out the aspect of personality, concept of personality in a very comprehensive manner. We'll see what are the characteristics of personality. Time and again we talk about personality, and we will try to learn, try to know what are the theories given by the different psychologists, the type approach, trait approach, and the psychoanalytical approach later on. And later on the question arises, can we assess the personality of the individual? Yes, the psychologist have gone to the extent that they have tried to measure or try to assess the personality of an individual in the term of digits. So we'll see later on, we'll discuss later on. For the time being, we will discuss what are the characteristics of personality. First aspect of personality is it is dynamic. It never stops. As the life goes on, the personality of individual keeps on changing in the day-to-day life, in the society. We meet new persons, we make new friends, and with the interaction of those new friends, we learn so many new things, and that way changes come in our behavior, changes come in our likings and dislikings. So this way personality is dynamic. Then it is psychological, because our attitudes, our beliefs, our values, they bring change in our personality. Then organized and integrated, one has to be disciplined. We have to focus that all the aspects, physical, mental, social and emotional, should work out in a balance, because I would like to give an example of our this whole body. There are so many systems in the world, but the greatest system on this earth is our human body system. Suppose there is a misfunctioning of any part, maybe lungs or maybe heart, maybe brain or anywhere, we have to rush to the doctor, meaning by if there is a small problem in any part, then the whole system is disturbed. So this way the greatest system is the human body system. So none of the part has any importance in individuality, but when all the parts of our body, they work as a unit, then our body functions well. So in the same manner, our personality, our behavior, our actions, they should be integrated in all the aspects. Then the determination, these are our decisions, these are our likings which frame our mind and which set our personality. Uniqueness, every individual is unique in this world. God has created all human beings with at least one different quality. There is no individual on this earth who has no quality. Only thing is we ourselves, teachers, parents, have to identify that creativity, that trait, so that on the basis of that trait or type, personality can be improved, and individual can select that I have to go in this profession, I have to go on this path. So every individual is unique. That's why in my counseling session and all the time in the class also, I say that every individual is unique. So parents and teachers are not supposed to compare the child with the other child, because everyone is unique. Then adjustment to environment. Personality has its own characteristics, that is the adjustment to environment. Since morning till evening, from birth till death, one has to make adjustments, sometime to ourselves and sometime to the society members. So this is the greatest aspect, this is the greatest feature of the personality, that one has the capacity of adjusting to the environment. Then self-consciousness. We cannot assign a personality to the animals because they are not conscious. So personality is self-conscious. And next is the social, because we are living in the society, we are learning the things while interacting the people, and we learn so many things while interacting. So the one and important characteristics of personality is social, because these are our social adjustments, social attitudes, social beliefs which frame our personality. Then I'll talk about the dimension and traits of the personality. What are the different traits? As I have spoken to you, that there must be integration in the personality, and we focus on the wholesome or balanced development of the personality. So what are those dimensions? They are, first is the physical dimension or traits, like height, weight, health, our physique, all these come into the physical dimension. Then the intellectual dimensions. God has given us intellect. We can reason out, we can think well, we can discriminate what is good or what is bad, on which path I should move, and what are the thoughts I have to reject, what are who are the persons I have to interact with, and what are the persons I have to stray away, because they are the negative persons with the negative thoughts. So I have to stay away from them. So we can make out the with the reasoning part, with the logical thinking, with our intellect. This is our intellect part. Then the emotional dimensions. Everyone is having a lot of emotions, emotion of love, anger, hate, jealousy, love, sacrifice, pity, mercy, empathy, so many emotions. But the only thing is education teaches us which are the emotions, where these emotions should be controlled and where these emotions should be expressed, and moreover the degree of these emotions from individual to individual varies. And the social traits, as we are living in the society, we have to see the welfare of the society. So this is the fourth aspect, that is the social trait. So these are our four dimension, four traits or four aspects of personality: physical, intellectual, emotional and social. See in this pic, personality has so many aspects. First, types, character, cheerful, some are cheerful. As I have spoken to you, we have to stay away from the persons who are having negative thoughts. Then social traits, then our values, then behavior, modest, caring, then introvert and extrovert. I will be talking about later the personality types, introvert and extrovert. See, two approaches, I am talking about these two approaches. The psychologists have tried to classify the different type of personality on the basis of type approach, physical appearance, and the second is the trait approach. Because our ultimate aim in the education system is to help the students to develop their personality, to make out some strategies. But before making out or establishing those methods, those strategies, we have to identify which kind of a person is having, उसकी type क्या है, and what are the traits of that person, what are the qualities. Because if a person is capable of going into the army and we are expecting from that person to draw some painting or to sing a song or to go into the business, that will be wrong. So we have to see the type and trait, attitude and aptitude of that person. So let us discuss in detail what are the type approach. There are different psychologists like Kretschmer, Sheldon, Spranger and Jung. They have given the various theories we will discussing later on the type approach, and the trait approach has been given by the famous psychologist Alport, Eysenck and R.B. Kettle. They have tried to explain the personality on the basis of trait. Basically, the type approach was accepted in the beginning, but these days we prefer the trait approach because some of the classification on the type approach was given in the 400 BC, because the society is dynamic and the personality is being changed. So we are moving forward, we are moving in the digital era. So it is very difficult to accept those things which were given in 400 BC because things are being changed. See, first classification of personality which was given by Hippocrates, it was given I think 400 BC. He has tried to explain the personality on the four basic types. Type means our body types. First classification Hippocrates has given, that is the sanguine. These are the people who in their appearance are thin and tall. He has used the word sanguine for this kind of personality. That some of then later on when we discuss the theories and assessment of personality, then in terms of these types, that is sanguine, we will be deciding the strategies. Suppose there is a person who is sanguine, we will identify from the body type that they are thin and tall, they are sanguine. So for these type of people, this kind of strategy we have to adopt. And the second classification, melancholic, because individual differences are there. So some of the persons in the second classification is sad and pessimistic. All the time you will find them in a gloomy mood. And the third is the choleric, who are strong and easily excited because they are strong. Sometime it may be possible on the small trivial things that they are excited. Oh, why he said this, I can do this, like these kind of excited behavior. And the fourth is the phlegmatic. They are very slow and sluggish. They will perform the work, but from their body type we will identify they are very slow. And the next classification we are moving on the type approach only, physical types. There was a psychologist, Kretschmer. He has tried to explain the type approach in 4 terms. First, aesthetic, thin and tall. Again, the same first classification. In this classification type approach, he has given that the person who are thin and tall, they are having aesthetic approach. Then the athletic, who are having a muscular type of body like sportsmen. Then the picnic, who are short and stout and easygoing. This kind of people, they are very jovial and they are always in a merry mood. Fourth is the dysplastic, abnormal built up. They have some problem in their behavior because they have some problem in their body type. So that 4th classification is that. Then the next is the soma type. Sheldon, a great psychologist, long back gave the classification. We know this classification, we have termed this classification the soma type, that is the endomorphic. He has used the word endomorphic according to his own thinking, that is fat and massive. For the fat and massive people, he has tried to give the name endomorphic. Later on, when we try to find out the strategy, we will see according to the soma type, if the person falls in this category, what kind of strategy, what kind of teaching or counseling will be suitable for this person. Then the mesomorphic type, the persons who are muscular and athletic. Then the ectomorphic, they are thin and tall. Then the sociological type, according to Sprenger, theoretical type. In this classification, mathematician and philosophers come. Then the economic type, businessmen. Then the aesthetic type, poets and artists. Then the social type, social reformers and leaders. Then the political type, statesmen and political leaders. And the religious type, saints. Then extrovert, introvert and ambivert type. Jung has classified people into these 3 categories. Generally, we come across these terms, introvert, extrovert. Most of the time, we try to identify whether person is introverted, extrovert. Actually, nobody is totally extrovert, nobody is totally introvert. Most of the time, we fall in the category of ambivert. Suppose we are being given very much importance and the people of like-minded are there, we feel extrovert, we feel happy and we will prefer to talk. And if we are not being respected and we are not being given importance, then we will sit in a corner quietly, then our personality will be like introvert. So somewhere we are extrovert and somewhere we are introvert. And James has classified tender-minded and tough-minded. In tender-minded, idealistic and materialistic outlook in the tough-minded. Trotter has said that 2 categories, stable-minded, one kind is stable-minded and the another is unstable-minded. And Binet has said that we have two type of personality, subjective and objective. Jordan has said that active and reflective. So, after this discussion, I would like to conclude that first classification is the type approach on the basis of body type. Some of the psychologists long back has given that we can classify the personalities on the basis of type approach, and further we will discuss the trait approach on the basis of trait. So, I hope my friends, my listeners, my viewers, that now it is clear to all the listeners that personality is a wider term. It is a totality of internal as well as outer appearance. These 2 aspects, when they combine, it is what we mean by personality. And how can we classify, how can we identify on the basis of type of the body, type of the our physique. So, here I will stop after the classification of type approach. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers and listeners. In this session, we'll talk about the determinants of personality, and before that, I would like to talk about the trait approach also, how on the basis of traits we can identify the personality of the individual. Sometimes some of the traits, some of the qualities, they become so dominating that on the basis of that trait we are known. According to Alport, there are the cardinal first trait is cardinal trait. We are known by that. For example, if I talk about Satyavadi Raja Harishchandra, if someone is talking or speaking truth, will say, oh, you are talking like Raja Harishchandra. So one aspect, one trait of individual becomes so dominating that we are known by that trait, that is the cardinal trait, and the central trait is the second one, that is these form the basic foundation, and the third is the secondary trait, which occur only in certain situations. We are not so impatient, but sometime when we are stuck up in a traffic jam or we are waiting for the bus or train and we are getting late, then in that moment we become impatient and our behavior becomes irritating. Otherwise we are a person of good mood, but in that situation we become irritating. So Alport has tried to explain on the basis of these traits. Then according to Kettle, the famous psychologist, he talked about two traits, surface trait and source trait. Outwardly, when we express in the same mood, that is the surface trait expression of our behavior, and some traits are at the background of our behavior, these are known as source traits. Then Ising, a famous psychologist, talk about the extroversion and introversion. Some people are extrovert, like teachers, lawyers, they come in that category, and the singers and the painter, they come in the introversion. Then neuroticism or emotional stability. Some people, they have problem behavior, they come in this category of neuroticism, and others are having emotional stable behavior. Then the psychoticism and inappropriate emotional experiences. Sometimes they become irritate and their behavior is not so much which is required in the society. Then influencing factors. Now we'll talk about what are the factors which determine our personality. So first we'll talk about the hereditary factors and environmental factors. Then later on we'll discuss how far we are responsible to frame our personality, to make our personality good or otherwise. See, hereditary factors. First, our physique, our appearance. Suppose we are good looking, we are well dressed, so we are given the compliment, hey, you are looking good, you are looking smart, you are looking this. So this kind of compliment, they just influence our personality. So our physique is the first hereditary factor which influence our personality. Then the intelligence. We have to make so many decisions in day-to-day life. So this is our intellect, our reasoning power, our thinking power, our discriminatory power, which sets our personality. So this is our intelligence. And my dear friends, I must tell you that intelligence is an inborn, innate capacity. We can give the information, we can increase the knowledge of our students, but not the intelligence. It is the innate power. So that is hereditary. What are the genes we have inherited from our parents and the ancestors? So this is our intellect which influence our personality. Then the sex differences. Sex differences meaning by the role, if they are set that this we have to, a boy has to do and a girl has to do, but in this time of globalization, I think now set typical roles are no more there. Then the nervous system, our body system, what kind of glandular system or nervous system we are having. So that behavior, that hereditary factors, they influence our personality. Then the chemical organization, meaning by our thyroid glands, our pituitary glands, how what kind of functioning, whether it is balanced, whether it is good, because our health is important. If we are healthy, physically healthy, our behavior will be good, because there is a famous proverb, all the time we listen, we use, that healthy mind dwells in a healthy body. So physically, if we are fine, our personality will be influenced in that way. Then the environmental factors. Environmental factor, first is the geographical environment and personality, the climate where we are moving. If I give the example, in the hilly area, people are hardworking, and otherwise, who are living in like Madani area, they are not hardworking, they are easygoing. So in hilly area, the people are hardworking. So in which geographical conditions we are moving, that influences our personality. Then the family environment, that is very important, because if there is a broken home, I mean there is a clash between the parents all the time, and the parents, they are nagging with each other all the time, they are quarreling on the small or trivial issues, then it spoils the personality of the child. So we have to be careful. Most of the time in a light mood, I say in counseling session that once you become parents, you are no more husband and wife. It means that you have to see that you are the parents, and your behavior, your ideas, your desires, your actions, everything, your conversation, your gossiping, your friends, your relatives, where you are going, all these aspects are influencing the personality of your children. So you have to be very careful what kind of environment you are giving to your children, because your children, what they are receiving, they will be expressing. Family life patterns, whether a child is living or brought up in a nuclear family or in a joint family, it is again further a debatable issue whether the personality is developed in a better in a nuclear family or in a joint family. It has its pros and cons. Where on one side, in a joint family system, the child learns to cooperate with each other, try to share with each other. On the other side, when the child is brought up in a nuclear family, his or her self-confidence is better, because he or she has to, that child has to do everything for himself or herself, so self-confidence may be better. So again, it is a debatable issue. Early childhood experiences, it is said that the personality is developed in the childhood, not in the young age. So the early childhood experiences, they are very vital for the personality development. So if some child is having a bitter experience in the childhood, it is very difficult for that child to forget that bitter experience. So in again counseling session, we try to make the case study on that child. So it is important for the time being that early childhood experiences, they have great influence on the personality development of the children. The neighborhood where we are living, where we are moving, because the persons in whose company, in whose neighborhood we are moving, we will be having gossiping, we will be having discussion, and directly or indirectly we motivate each other where we are moving. So our neighborhood also influences the personality of the child. Then friends and companions, you are known by your friends, and remember friends, when you were small, you have been warned time and again by your parents and teachers, better alone than in a bad company. So what is it? Because you are known by your choices, you are known by your company, what you keep. So your company influences your personality. Because suppose you devote much time to studies, but you make friends who are not so serious about the studies. So it may be possible that gradually and slowly that child influences you and you become careless. It can become vice versa also, but the possibility is less there. Then school, the philosophy and ideologies of the school, of the teachers where we are studying, that also matters. If our teachers, they are very motivating and they are setting the examples from their life, from their behavior, it will influence the personality of the child. Then the media, social media, we read magazines, we read newspapers, we watch TV, we listen radio, and all the other, we use Facebook, we use Twitter, and all this kind of information we get on media, they influence the personality. It all depends on the choices of the students, whether they are making educational uses from the mobile or they are only chatting. So it depends on their choice, because just now I have spoken to you that it is our selection, it is our choices which determine our personality, because there are so many path before us and there are so many choices before us. So it depends on our personality what we choose. So it is our choice, it's our selection which determine or influence our personality. Then very important aspect, name and personality. Sometime when a child is born, we give some very funny nickname to the child, and when the child grows up, we call that child by that nickname. It spoils the personality. Sometimes that name brings the inferiority complex in the child, and out of love we give the name Kallu, Chappu, like this kind of different names which become Motu, which becomes very funny, and it brings inferiority complex. So parents has to be very careful that such kind of funny name, funny adjective should not be labeled to the child in the beginning also. Then clothes and personality. Our clothes, they also influence our personality, because in the very beginning I have talked that personality is the internal as well as external combination or total quality of an individual. So our appearance is also influencing the personality. For what purpose we are going, where we are going, our clothes should depict our personality, what task we have to perform. So our clothes, they depict our personality. Then the culture and personality, our mannerisms. Our mannerism depict our personality, what kind of profession we are into, because every time by our mouth, by giving lecturing, we are not motivating the children, rather by our behavior, by our mannerisms only we can influence the behavior of the youngsters. Then after discussing these these aspects, these factors, hereditary factors and environmental factors, then there is the third category which influence the personality of the youngsters, and those factors we know them by the name of psychological factors. Psychology and education time and again is trying to know what are the strategies to develop the personality of the child, because wherever you go, maybe in any company, corporate sector, maybe in army, maybe in medicine, technology, education, law, wherever you go, your personality is depicted, your mannerisms, your attitude. So these days the companies, they prefer the persons with good attitude. They see, when you go for interview, they see your resume, but with the group discussion or asking some of the questions, the persons who take your interview tries to know what will be your social attitudes, what will be your attitude towards the upliftment of the company or upliftment of the nation. So everywhere in every field your attitude is seen. So what are your motives? First, your motives, your goals, your desires, they are very important in influencing the personality. So after that, acquired interest. I am talking about acquired interest. Interest again is a very wider term. Some of the interest we inherit from our parents or ancestors, not the immediate parents only. And some of the interest we acquire from the environment, from our peer group, from our teachers, from our neighborhood, from our company, from social media. So our interest influence our personality. Suppose any individual is having an interest of reading good literature. So whenever your friends, I am talking about the parent, when your friends come to your home and your children are listening your talk, you will be talking about good literature, not the other materialistic things only. So indirectly that conversation regarding your taste of literature will be influencing your child. In the same way, when you are giving the example in the classroom, your students will come to know that, oh, the other day the same teacher who is lecturing us has published her book or her paper, research paper in international journal, so that will be a motivating factor for that student in the class. So by setting your own example, you try to motivate the interest of your children, of your students, and everywhere. So these are our acquired interest which psychologically influence our personality. Then attitude. Just now I was talking about your attitude. What is your attitude that makes or mar your personality? Because how you look at the things, how you perceive the things, that is very important, my dear friends. Youngsters these days has to understand it very well that this is our attitude which can take us to the altitudes. If we want to reach to the top of the ladder, to top of the higher position we are dreaming for, we are aspiring for, then our attitudes should be positive. Everywhere you come across that people are lecturing you, adults are asking you, you are reading in the social media, you are listening in the social media, that our attitude should be positive. So what we have to do to make that positive attitude, we'll discuss. Then the intellectual capacities. Again, I am talking about intellect. Intellect or intelligence is a hereditary unit. We can increase the knowledge or information of the learners, but not the intellect. Only by good training we can increase it by 0.5 only, because we are reading and we are listening good literature, we are moving the good company, then there comes the refinement in our intellect, in our taste and in our interest. So these are psychological factors. In brief, I have taken only few, that is the motives, our acquired interest, our attitude, our character and our intellect capacities. Again, if I talk about character, what is character? It's a very wider term. Character means when we perform the work or the assigned task we are doing, when we are fulfilling our assigned work in a very fine manner, then we can say that the character of this person is good. That is why the proverb is famous, work is worship. When we perform our work in a dignified manner, in a required desirable manner, then we can say the character of that person is good. For example, if a teacher is teaching well, we can say character of the teacher is good. If a mother is performing the activities which are required, which are desired or which are expected from a mother, then we can say character of the mother is good. Meaning by character का क्या मतलब हुआ? Then when a person is performing the assigned role in a perfect manner, that is what we mean by character. So character also influences our personality. Then the last but not the least part is, by now we have come to know that personality is the total quality of individual, internal as well as external. And before we try to make or find out or establish some approach, strategy or methods to develop the personality of the child, we have to identify the personality type or trait of the individual, which has been given by different psychologists, in which classification of type and in which classification of trait approach the individual is falling in. Of course, after knowing so much definitions given by the great psychologist, we cannot say that this definition is correct or that is correct. But I would like to say here that the definition given by Allport is almost comprehensive. Allport, the greatest psychologist, has tried to touch all the aspects of the personality, that what we actually mean by personality. So now let us discuss in framing or shaping the personality of the child, what role a teacher can perform, because the ultimate or the topmost aim of education is to develop the personality of the child. students, after even completing their classes, they have joined the personality development courses. What is it? That is that a harmonious and balanced and integrated development of the personality. Well, dear friends, let us discuss the role of the teacher. First, fair and democratic methods. When a teacher is teaching in the class or interacting with the students, should be fair, meaning by equal behavior, equal treatment to all. If a student comes to know or realizes that this particular teacher is not fair, giving more importance to one group or one students, then that particular student will lose the interest at that very moment. And teachers should be democratic. These days the education system has changed. Earlier it used to be teacher oriented. These days it has become pupil oriented. So your way of dealing with the students must be a democratic one. If you want to make the personality of your children in a holistic manner, develop their personality, and then be organized and responsible. If you want that your student should become a very well integrated and organized personality, and they should turn out in a responsible citizen, then you have to show your behavior as a responsible teacher, so that your students come out as a citizen who can contribute a great to the community, to the nation, as well as create or contribute at international level. Then enthusiastic, you should be enthusiastic because when you go in the class, students are waiting. Do not go in a sluggish and slow mood. If you have some worry, you have some problem, leave those problem outside the classroom, outside that door, and go in a enthusiastic manner, so that you can infuse, you can instill a new energy, new hope among your students, and they become ready to learn by your behavior, by your personality, because you do not speak by your mouth only, your whole of the body speaks, your body language. These days we come across the word body language. What is it? That you as a teacher do not speak by your mouth. Whole of the body is telling to the students that you are ready to learn and teach, you are having a passion for teaching. Then open-minded. Teachers should be open-minded. Most of the time we say that there is a democracy in the class, but whenever a student try to have satisfy some query, sometime I have noticed that some of the teachers, they get angry and they do not like their question. If as a teacher you are not open minded, the queries and the questions of your students will remain in their mind and they will not be able to learn. So be open minded. Then individual differences. By the time we know that there are individual differences, some are very gifted students, some are slow learners, some are deviant from the teaching, so some have their other problems. So we have to keep in mind as a teacher while dealing with them that we have to make the personality of the individuals, we are not too hard the personality of the students. Then self-confidence, we have to make the self-confidence of the students. For this we can apply group discussion, group debate, or sometime we can motivate them to participate in the seminar or in the conference, and we can ask them that daily one by one one student out of you will come on the dais and will explain the latest news, latest things what are coming in the field of education. So this way we can develop their self-confidence. Then the creative, I have spoken right now that every individual on this earth is having at least one creativity. God has created like this human beings. Only thing is, teacher or the parents or the individual himself or herself has to identify what is that trait, so that that individual move in that particular direction. Some of the tips are, again, how in brief we can give some tips to develop the personality. First is the keep a smart head and keep cool. If you are in an angry mood in the class, then the atmosphere will not be conducive. Some of the students are very timid, very shy, and they will not be able to express their queries, and they will not be in a mood to learn. And one thing is very important, these days we teachers have to compete with the computer and mobile and other social media or the Google. So only in the class of that teachers student will remain, sit or interact where the students feel that this teacher has a special content, special methodology or the method of teaching or the mannerism which I do not get anywhere. So this is your method. Then don't shout or be aggressive. You have to deal with your students in a cool manner and don't doubt yourself. Sometimes a teacher is confused, then you cannot remove the doubts of your students. Be executive in dress. I have spoken to you that personality is internal quality as well as external appearance. So your dress, your mannerisms, and for which profession you are going. So your dress should be that type, because as soon as the moment people look at you, they should be impressed. I am not talking about the outer beauty. I am talking about you, how you carry the things, how you carry your manners, how you carry your personality, and create your personality style. Do not copy the other person's, because then there will be a fake style. You become, as I was talking about the cardinal trait given by psychologists, that one trait of yourself becomes so dominating that you are known by that trait, as I had given the example of Satyavadi Raja Harishchandra. So this way your one cardinal trait becomes so dominating, so don't copy anyone. And lastly, I would like to conclude that I hope that my friends, my listeners, my viewers, they have come to know what do we mean by personality. It is a total internal as well as external quality. And before we find out what are the strategies to make the development of the children, we have to identify what are the determinants which influence personality, and in which classification of type approach and trait approach the individual is following. Now, here I would like to stop.
With this note, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for giving us a very, very good session on personality, because personality is the most important ingredient. If we have good personality, definitely the whole world will be ours, and it would be easier for us to make the imprint on the people's mind. So I would like to thank you once again for giving this session to the students. And the students, we believe that you will adopt all what said by Dr. Parveen Sharma through this session today. So do write to us if you have any queries, and if you want to bring a positive change within yourselves. Keep talking, and for that talking to us, you need to contact us at info.cc@nic.in. We would be meeting again very soon, dear friends, and would be talking on one of the another important topics which you might to be listened. So till then, take care. Goodbye. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Geetika ji. Thank you, listeners.